Hey everyone, welcome to Nerds Talk. I'm Mike.
And I'm Chris.
And today we are reviewing the season finale of Mandalorian. That's right, we finally made it to episode 8 or chapter 8, The Redemption.
Yeah.
And we've come a long way, and what a great finale it was. We got some answers to things that we were curious as to what are they going to set up for season 2. Some of the things that we predicted has definitely been confirmed, and as well as some surprises that we didn't see coming.
Yeah, definitely.
But before we get right into it, if you haven't seen the show, again, this will be a complete spoiler cast. We'll be going through the whole show bit by bit. If you don't want to be spoiled, please watch the episode and then come back and watch our review afterwards. But with that, let's kick it off. Do you want to go through the highlights, the synopsis, or do you want me to tackle
that? It's up to you, whatever you feel like doing. So pretty much they start off with the two the scout troopers on the speeder bikes. They stop, they're at the checkpoint asking for, confirmation to go through. They find out that Moff Gideon has killed a couple of his own crew just to make a point and show his power, and that to wait for it. So we get this funny dialogue back and forth kind of from the two scout troopers, and then they do target practice, and it kind of makes a jab at them having horrible aim, like all stormtroopers having horrible aim. So I thought that was kind of funny as well. Cool. They're both shooting, and they shake their weapons thinking it's the weapon that's malfunctioning, but it's really just their horrible aim.
And just a day in the life of you're sitting there waiting for commands. You're bored. What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
small talk.
They're chit chatting. The one guy wants to see the child. The other, has already quickly seen it, but doesn't want to really mess up anything with the Moff. So it was nice to see that kind of dialogue from like a scout stormtrooper kind of person.
Scout punched the baby a couple times. Hard in the face.
Yeah.
Like just dish, dish. I was like, oh my gosh.
I was a little surprised by that, but yeah. I mean, they don't care.
They're evil.
Yeah.
That's all you can say.
And then I love when he radioed back saying, any update? And that guy's like, well, he just shot someone for interrupting him, so I'm not really gonna, I'm not really feeling that right now, so it may take a little bit longer. And then eventually after that, we see IG-11 come in.
Yes.
And
which we kind of predicted that he might step out.
Yeah, because he was programmed to protect, right? It was mentioned that, he will protect. So he steps in and saying, pretty much similar to episode or chapter 1 where, he's going for the child for the bounty to kill.
Absolutely.
This time he's going in as a nanny saying, please hand over under decree. Like, you must hand it over. And at one point he goes, so are you not, you're not going to give him to me? And they're like, no. So then he does his moves and
breaks the guy's
him.
hand completely, just snaps at the wrist. Oh, man.
Yeah. So IG-11 is definitely still badass, even though he's a nanny in protection mode, but I definitely want him to protect me.
Yeah. That was so cool.
Yeah.
Took him out, grabbed the child, put it on his chest, and then
went on the speeder bike.
Yeah, and we cut back to them being hunkered down in the bunker.
Yeah.
And they ask him to actually no, first there's some dialogue, right? And there's a setting up of a new weapon.
Yes. Yeah.
So I guess E-Web something or other. I can't remember.
The E-Web, and I guess it's the predecessor to the one that he was talking about. So, they see them setting up these other stormtroopers setting up the E-Web, and then Cara Dune recognizes it and says, we're in trouble. It's pretty much over. The Mandalorian's looking for a way to get to the sewer because he says, they used to be down there, all the Mandalorians. Mm-hmm. And so they're looking for the sewer. He finds a crate, and so they start shooting it to try and open it up, and we're unsuccessful.
Yep.
And Moff hears some shooting and says, I can tell by, what you're doing inside that you understand the severity that the situation that you guys are in. And then says, calls them out all by name. So he starts off with Cara Dune and, the shock trooper. You've seen this before. Many of your troops have been shot down before they even hit the ground with it. And then he calls out the Mandalorian by his real name, which is
Din
Djarin.
Jardin or Jarin, yeah.
Jarin. So that's the first time we ever hear his actual name, other than Mando or the Mandalorian. So that's a nice little bit to add to the end to show a little bit more of his background and stuff like that. So
and he talks about wiping out the Mandalorians.
Yes,
the Empire,
the War of 100 Tears or 1,000 Tears or something like that.
Yep.
So he's talking about that with that weapon, and then goes to Grief Kargan and says, your years of experience, I urge you to try and negotiate. And Grief, being who he is, says, what are your terms? What guarantees do we have? And Moff Gideon pretty much says, you can't trust me. Just like you went back on your deal. If it suits me, I'll go back on my deal. Pretty much he's like, I'm going to look after myself. And if it doesn't work for you, tough kind of thing. So that was a nice little interaction between them. And then he says he'll give him till night to decide to surrender and give up the child. And then it talks about Mandalorian saying he knew who this person was. And then we officially get the name said out loud. And then a little bit of history. I guess he used to be an IA with the Mandalorian or something like that. Or some I something. So he used to be part of the Mandalorian. Maybe not as a Mandalorian, but, affiliated with them. So that's how he knew his real name. Because only the clan, I guess, knew who he really was, and then it shows his full background. So all those little
he did
snippets.
mention a registry, so it could have been when they attacked the war. He went through the registry, but you're right. We just know that he was there, 100% for sure. He was there.
Yeah. So then we get the full background, those little clips of him as the Mandalorian as a child. So we see the full clip from front to back.
Yep.
Because we had gone up to the bomb shelter kind of thing. The bomb goes off, the door is open, and there's the droid. And then you hear a gunshot, but you don't see what. And now you see that a bunch of Mandalorians came.
Exactly.
We're shooting up the Imperial droids, and one took the boy and ended up flying off with them. But that was a cool scene to see all the different Mandalorians.
When I first saw the Mandalorian, I was looking very clearly because the helmet looked a little like Boba Fett.
Yes.
Even the colors. It was like a different shade of green and a little bit of a red, very faded. So I was like, oh, is that? No, it couldn't be. Yeah. And obviously it wasn't, but.
Yeah, because then pan down, all of them kind of looked similar, but it was that certain clan that he was, being protected by. Yeah. And then they took him in and, put him into, what do you say, the armory or the army training kind of thing, like the fighting training, and then ended up becoming sworn in. That's right. As a Mandalorian. So we get the full background for the Mando, which was also pretty cool. And then so they're like, okay, let's call
Quill.
Because
like maybe he escaped one more time.
Yeah, because he's like, we'd be dead already if they had the child. So obviously they didn't have him.
Calls out, and then he hears on the mic the child laughing or whatever.
Yes, that was pretty funny.
And then IG-11 talks in, and he says something along the lines of,
Quill's gone. Yeah, he said, what'd you do? And he said, my job and protecting the child. So yeah, I was kind of surprised that IG-11 came in. Yeah, because I thought he was going on the speeder and taking off back.
And he says, I need you to go protect him, whatever. That's what I'm doing. And he heads right down, right into the area.
Town, and
it just wrecks shop.
Oh, man. He was amazing. So you get the shooting from the speeder bikes. He's shooting with two of his arms as well.
Spitting around, screaming,
just going down the alleyway.
Then when he sees there's a lot of stormtroopers, he twists his body around so that the child's behind him.
The baby and the arms go back.
So cool.
That was very cool because then the child was protected, and he was taking the shots, and still he just turns his head and turns his arms and still shooting away. Yeah. Eventually dismounts the bike. Runs into a bunch of stormtroopers that way. He keeps shooting. The rest of the crew sees that this is happening, comes out and starts shooting as well.
That's right. And so then finally, Cara Dune and Mando take a stand and kind of come out and join the fight, so to speak. They're taking things. Mandalorian just runs out and grabs that E-Wag.
It's huge. It's
just like a Halo Master Chief moment. He just rips it off the turret, and just so cool.
Yeah, wrecking shop. But then you see the Grand Moff come back. Moff Gideon. And he actually aims and takes a shot at Mando a couple of times and hits him in the back and makes him drop the gun.
Yeah. And then when Mando turns to shoot him, he just takes one shot at the battery generator.
And explodes and
takes him out.
It causes a huge damage to the Mando.
Takes him out completely. Yeah. We know he's definitely injured because he's not moving. And so Cara Dune is freaking out, so she's trying to get to him, and IG-11 is there, and so IG-11 gets shot a couple times, kind of ends up on his knees at one point.
Yeah, he's protecting the child, but, still taking a couple shots.
So Cara Dune grabs him and brings him back inside, and while a Grief Karga is kind of covering the door, and they all make their way inside.
Yeah.
And so while he's there, they ask IG-11 if he can
take care of the grate, and he said yes. I love the point where he says, "Yes, I can do it, but if you touch the baby, I will have to. Or if you touch the child, if you touch him, I'll have to kill you."
Yeah, the Grief Karga.
He's like, "I understand. Like, just do the."
I wish I had my own IG.
Yeah,
I love the IG.
I love the IG units.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very handy and more than just the assassination part and stuff. But and it was reprogrammed to be even more handy.
Yeah, so he's cutting through the grate, and Mandalorian's there bleeding out because they find out that Cara Dune got a ghost, and touches the back of his head and is all bloody. And realizes, oh, I'm not going to make it. And so he's telling them, take the child, take my insignia, basically the Mandalorian symbol, the bull with the 3 teeth or whatever you want to call it, the jowls of the beast. And he says, take this. If you find the clan, show them this, say you're under protection of me, and they'll take you in.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm not going to leave you. I'm not going to leave you. He says, it's too late for me. I'm dying. I'm not going to make it. And so she turns to IG-11 and asks him if he can bring him in.
Well, he says, yeah, take the child. And he says, I'll stay with the Mandalorian. And you go. And she says, promise me you'll take him with you. And he says, you have my word.
Yes. But before this happens, we get a nice flamethrower surprise.
Yes.
New trooper. I mean, we've seen flame troopers before, but this guy had a red. Look like an executioner kind of thing where you kind of, I don't know, it just looks so cool.
The bigger mask, like the wider mask, and the red coming down and red on his armor. Yeah. That was very cool to see.
And then just flamethrower just burns down the house, and then he starts approaching, and then he takes aim and he sees the child there. And of course Mando's helpless, and Cara Dune's there trying to protect him, and IG-11's in the back trying to cut the grate open, and he just takes aim right at the child. Yeah. And he just puts both hands up. Uses a force bubble essentially and just stops everything from hitting them. And of course, this is where Grief Karga kind of sees another oh my gosh, this is crazy. Yeah. And then pushes it back and explodes. Kills the guy. Yeah. And then he passes out. Yeah. And so so then they get to the grate and we kind of keep going from there. So
yeah. So then they all go through the grate and that's just IG and Mando, and he says, Mandalorian turns to him and says, okay, do it. And IG's like, what? He's like, I'd rather you kill me than one of these, troopers or whatever, imps, kill me. And he's like, that's not my program. Like he explains again, that's not my program. I've been reprogrammed. Even though you think IGs are only for fighting and killing, I've been reprogrammed and I'm different. So he goes, I'm a nurse. I can help save you. And he says, I need to take this helmet off. Your helmet off.
Yes.
And he refuses again. He says, no live person has ever seen one take it off. Yeah. That's when IG-11 goes, I'm not a live person. Yeah. He's like, oh, and he lets him take it off. He sprays some
back to gel is the traditional healing thing throughout Star Wars. Luke was in the back to tank. We saw that in Finn in the back to jacket. Yeah. The back to fluid is the quintessential healing
fluid. Yeah. So he says. You have damage to your central core.
Yeah,
you mean my brain? He goes, yes, that was a joke to make it lighthearted. And he kind of chuckled at that. So that's the first time he's kind of bonded with a droid. Yeah. So he you can see that. Okay, he kind of chuckles and laughed at that. So they have that bond now, which will come in handy later on. Yeah. So that it cuts to the sewers. They're kind of trying to make their way, but it's dark and it's like a maze. And then they see a light behind them, and they think it might be the troopers, and it ends up being IG and the Mando. So they catch up together. Cara Dune takes the Mandalorian from IG, and then IG takes the child, and they make their way. And the Mandalorian kind of guides their way through this maze to where all his clan was essentially. Yep. And then they he makes his way, and then they see this pile of Mandalorian armor just laying there, where
helmets and chest pieces and just everything.
Yeah. So then he goes after Grief to say, did you do this when we left? All the bounty hunters, and he says no. Like once you left with the prize, everyone kind of dispersed and just left because there's nothing for them to fight for with their prize gone. Yeah. And then the weapons maker, I guess, for Mandalorian comes out and explains what happened. The Imperial troops came soon after the Mandalorian left, and then they took over, and she explains kind of what happened, and they wiped out the Mandalorians.
Again.
I mean, the Mandalorian asks, did some get away? And she says, hopefully some got out into the Outer Rim or somewhere. So there could be some more. They've left it open that way and not, definitive said, they wiped out all the Mandalorians, which is, leaves the storyline open for other things in other seasons, which is great. But then, she's bringing pieces in and starting to melt them. And then
he says, "Come with us." She says, "No, I'm gonna stay here. I have to like melt this all down."
Until I can't leave until I'm done my work here and everything. So, and then she ends up melting, and as she's talking, it's like, "Oh, this is the child. This is what you were, you were hunting, and then you saved." And then the Mandalorian says, "Yeah, you saved me too." Yeah, and she says he looks so helpless, and then he explains the powers that he has and so on. And she kind of brings up, a past enemy that they had was the sorcerers that they called Jedis, that were similar to the species. But so he's like, "Oh, so he's an enemy?" And she said, "No, not
this one."
Yeah. So then she kind of says, "Your goal now is to, you're like his father now. You have to bring it back. It's 2 weeks, so it's 2 weeks to train as a Mandalorian, but you need to bring it back to his homeland, to his people."
And then find out where that is.
Yeah, so reunite it.
That's exactly what we were hoping they'd do, to find Yoda's heritage, where the planet is from, what the species is called, what is the name. They all start with a Y, like we have, previously known. Yeah. So that's really exciting at that being the potential setup for season 2 or 3 and onward.
Because they've never explained it, obviously, on purpose. George Lucas never wanted to explain, Yoda's past, his planet, what species, what the name of the species is. So this gives them, green light to do anything they want. And with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, I believe that they have a good idea of where they're going, not just season 2, but season 3.
Absolutely.
A few seasons down the line, and have this whole layout of how they want to do it, which is I'm really looking forward to.
Absolutely. So she basically tells him that he's pretty much the father
at
this point.
Yeah. And then as she's talking, she's kind of wielding something at the same time.
Yes.
And she's decided that they're a clan of 2 now, Baby Yabby and Mando.
Yeah.
And that she makes his own insignia, which is what, the Mud Horde, which is what, Baby Yabby saved the Mando from. So now it makes sense that he's earned that signet. So I thought that was cool as well.
That was really cool.
He's now found his signet. They're like a clan of 2 now. They've kind of bonded. They have this, father-son type relationship. And now we know what the future episodes will be about. So I like it that you get the background of the Mandalorian plus, Yoda's background, history, species, and all this. So they have 2 stories in one, that you get so much more history in the Star Wars that they just, touched on little bits with, Boba Fett or other bounty hunters, and talking about, in the shows with Rebels and with Clone Wars, you see Mandalorians and, different clans and background that way.
Yes.
But now they can expand it even more. They can, bring the pieces from the other shows like Clone Wars and Rebels, and, bring those people, Sabine or other, Duchess clan, and all those different clans and people and characters, and bring that in. And I know you would love to see it, but Ahsoka and Sabine,
that'd be great.
Ezra,
Thrawn,
all that. Thrawn, kind of build them in, maybe season 3 or somewhere.
Well, yeah, the Empire still
something like that.
Has remnants out there, and Thrawn was part of it, and a huge leader at one.
Yeah,
he'd want to take up control too.
Exactly. So it'd be cool to see. They never really touched back on that part, but they could, and they still can. So that's fantastic. So
she tells them the only way to escape is through this river of lava. Basically.
Yeah. So they start making their way that way, and I guess she stays, and they cut to a scene. They find the ship, this little crate, I guess a little barge that they can go on the lava
river, which looked very reminiscent of Mustafar with Anakin and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so they're like, it's like stuck, and so they're trying to get it loose, and they can't. It's all covered. This is even the driver, which looked like a little R2 unit. Astromech droid is there stuck in like rock, so it can't move. So they're like, we're gonna have to figure out. They're like, well, if we can just get it up the river, the flow will just take us down there.
Yeah, so we'll go with the current of the lava river, and then Cara Dune eventually says, just back up, and kind of shoots. I guess it, probably the lava probably melted and cured. So she shoots it free. They hop on, and then as they start going, they hear a noise behind them.
And the asteroid starts waking up and breaking through.
It gets taller, and it's like...
In surprise.
Yeah, they all draw their weapons, and it's talking to them, and they're like, does anyone speak droid? And then IG's like, I believe it's asking where you want to go. Yeah. So they tell them, just take them down to the lava fields, and that's where they can get off and get to their ship and be free.
What was really cool is that they took this astromech droid. We've seen tons of astromech droids. We come to love them. R2-D2, Chopper, so many different styles.
They all look the same.
And nope, this one's got legs and arms. Well, essentially 4 arms, because it's got 2 regular arms and 2 shorter arms, and then full legs. And it looks like a human, as close to a human it can be, as being an astromech. Like an astromech sitting on a body of a human. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's like I've never seen that
different
before.
too.
Yeah.
So that was nice to see something new
So
and
awesome.
different. Yeah. And it's just like a gondola driver just, kind of pushing the way with a stick. And so I thought that was kind of cool.
Really cool.
And new and different as well. So very, very good on them. For
so
that.
they see light at the end of the tunnel. They're peeking through, and there's our escape. And then so Mandalorian starts scanning and sees a bunch of heat signatures from bodies. And he says, "Oh, so let's fill with stormtroopers."
Yeah, it's like a whole fleet or
squadron, or battalion, or something.
Yeah. So they're trying to come up with a plan, and after they scan, they kind of cut back to the weapons maker of the Mandalorian. She's kind of sitting with two of her weapons. Stormtroopers come in, kind of surround her. They tap her and they, where are the others gone? And then eventually she gets up and just destroys them. At one point she grabs one and throws it into the fire pit.
Yes, melts one, mashes the face off.
Yeah, completely shatters the mask.
Yeah, just brutally, just like, you have a hammer and I have prongs essentially, or tongs, and that's all I need.
Yeah,
and
she just destroyed them.
Amazing.
Like full weapons and everything, just, the way their movements, the weapons. Fantastic. It just shows how powerful of a warrior the Mandalorians were.
She also gave to Mandalorian a jetpack. Says, you earned this.
I forgot that.
But she says that you need to practice it before it'll listen to your command. And so he has IG-11 to hold on to it for him.
Yeah.
Until he gets
stronger and time to train with it. And so my son and I were watching at the same time. He's like, oh, he said I should get one of those in that last episode. Now he has his own. It looks so cool.
He's like a full man. He's like Boba Fett 2.0. He's got the jetpack. He's got all the cool gadgets. He's got the new armor. He's got the insignia. He's got everything he needs. He's good to go.
So flashy too.
The only thing missing was the rocket on the top that Jango and Boba Fett had. But other than that, it was like awesome.
Later on in the season, so you can
upgrade. Oh yeah, there's gonna be upgrades and new expansions and stuff.
Yeah. So then, at the same time, before she said, re-up on all your ammo and stuff like that. So they're restocked that way. Yeah. So then after, that cutscene of the weapons maker kind of, kicking butt, they go back to the barge, the lava, and IG-11 says, I've been programmed. My secondary program is to self-destruct. I can't be captured. I will self-destruct as part of my, programming. And Mandalorian's like, well, you've been reprogrammed to be the nanny. You got, we can try and fight our way out. Grab a gun and help us shoot our way out. He says, he's being a droid. He's like, statistically, we won't make it, kind of thing. Like,
the odds of survival.
Yeah. He's like, so as long as you promise me that you can look after the child, I can go to my secondary programming and then walk up and self-destruct and take them all out. But what I thought was really cool was because of that bonding with, taking the helmet off and making that little joke, IG-11's like, don't be sad. And Mandalorian's like, I'm not sad. He's like, I'm a droid. I'm a nanny. I've analyzed your voice and I can tell that you're sad.
He's like, I'm not alive. He says that again. Like, I'm not alive. I'm just a droid. Even though, again, the good guys always see the droids as people.
Yes.
They care about them, their personalities. And the Empire's always seen them as just machinery.
Exactly.
And he's like, I am a machine. I'm not alive. I can't feel pain.
Yeah. So then, so I thought, okay, he'll kind of, take over the stick and, push him over to the side. He'll walk up and self-destruct or whatnot. But no, he literally steps out into the lava and starts walking faster than the ship, whatever. I guess it's a little ship.
Yeah.
And, gets ahead of them and goes to the opening of the sunlight and then he's surrounded by all the weapons. He says, my protocol is to self-destruct. The bomb comes out just like it did in chapter 1. And boom, takes them all out. Just like that.
They make it out. Of course, they look shooken up, like we lost a friend, essentially. And they kind of make it out. And then what do they hear? The screaming noise of a TIE fighter.
Love that sound.
And sure enough, Moff Gideon is coming in to finish his job.
Yeah. So he makes one round, kind of misses them on shooting. Turns around, so they see him coming back for his approach. And Mandalorian grabs his jetpack.
And he says, like, he's not going to miss the second time around.
Yeah. So he pops on the jetpack. So we're like, okay, here we go. He just, kind of starts it up. And then he's just waiting. I'm like, what is he waiting for? Like, but he just waits until he gets close, shoots up, and kind of, distracts him. So he misses his shot. And then grappling hook, grabs the end of it.
Because he can't control the jetpack, which is realistic from the standpoint of he's not just going to get it on and be like, I know how to use this thing.
Exactly.
He's like, I know how to go up and then hopefully like I'm grab onto something. I don't know how to control it. So
exactly. So I thought it was so cool seeing him fly behind. Eventually, he pulls himself in, grabs on, into the top. So Moff sees him, and then he starts shooting, but it doesn't go through. And then Moff Gideon does all of his techniques to try and get him off his TIE fighter. And eventually, he goes onto the side of the wing. He grabs a detonator that he has. Tries to put it, but then he loses it in the wind. And it explodes behind them, and then there's some more maneuvers to try and get him off. Eventually, he goes to a secondary one. I guess puts maybe 2. Yep. I think he grabbed 2, put 2 on the wing, detonate them, and then just let go. And then
so Gideon freaks out. He's like, no,
no,
boom. His wing explodes. He goes for a
spiraling down, crash. And makes a nice crash.
And I thought, okay, he for sure ejected.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Mandalorian's going flying through the sky.
He's falling, and then eventually, like near the bottom, he kicks in. But you can tell they made it realistic where he just automatically didn't learn how to do the jetpack and be experienced. He's wobbly, and then got to the ground, and then kind of slammed down. And
it slowed his descent enough that he was able to not break his legs, but that was pretty much it.
Exactly. So I like that they made that very realistic. Where other shows and movies, like, all of a sudden he's a master of these jetpack or these weapons or whatever. It's like, no, he needs the training, but he took the chance because they were in a corner that they couldn't. There was no other choice but for him to do that, and he ended up making it work. Really.
Carl Weathers made a joke about the baby using the hand thing. Use the hand thing.
Make him use the hand thing, and then the baby just waves at him.
Like, I understand.
That's so funny.
Yeah, he's like, okay, forget that.
Yeah, he's like, forget it. But yeah, I forgot that part. That was very funny about because the TIE fighter was coming. He's like, make him use the hand thing. Yeah. Baby, use the hand thing. And then
that was good.
Waves and laughs.
So they pretty much are all happy. They're going to get out of there. And I don't know. They were talking about staying.
Yeah. So, right? So Grief was like, you're now I'm going to stay because, it's all balanced. Everything's back to the way it was. I run it now. Yeah. So he's back in control. And he's like, you have good standing now with the guild. So he understands that he's going to go off, but when he says, if you ever want to come back after you've done all this, you have good standing, you can have the pick of the litter of any bounty. You're pretty much going to be my top notch person.
That's pretty cool.
And then he also offers Cara Dune. He goes, someone with your skill set would be great here as a bounty hunter or a mercenary, whatever she wanted to be. And she made something about her chain code issues with her chain code and
something like that. Yeah. No, I don't remember. I mean, other than we know that he said that he has a job, he's got to go off, whatever. So they both stayed behind, Cara Dune and Grief Karga.
Yeah.
And he took off in his ship to head off to figure out where.
Yeah, so he kind of jetpacked with the child over to a ship and then took off with the ship. And they flew over Cara Dune and Grief Karga. And then that was the end of.
Then we get a close up of the TIE fighters. So we're like, okay, obviously he makes it alive. He's got to be set up for the villain for season 2.
Yeah.
And there's Jawas already dismantling the ship.
Yeah, Scrabble. Yeah.
And then we see this spark, and I'm like, oh, he's cutting his way free. And then we see emerge from the metal is the tip of the dark saber. That's right, folks. The black saber or dark saber from Clone Wars, from Rebels, the ones that was used by Darth Maul, used by Sabine, used by the Mandalorians and their clan. This legendary, epic, rare tool is in the hands of Moff Gideon, and he slices through the side of the TIE fighter.
Right.
He gets and stands on top with his cape flowing and the saber drawn, and it just looks so cool.
Oh my goodness!
Like payback.
The way it looked, it was fantastic too. Because we've only seen it in animation.
And further cements, either he knew about the Mandalorians having it, or he was part of the Mandalorian at some point to know so much about them to be able to go know how to kill them, know their weaknesses, be able to get it. Yeah, and be as lethal as he is. Very interesting. I get his background.
I cannot wait. Yeah, how did he get it?
Because we know that Sabine gave it up. So we know that it's not like he killed Sabine for it. Sabine gave it up, left it with the Mandalorians, and she left off with Ahsoka.
I think it's the Duchess's sister he gave it to and her clan. So, oh man. To see what they're doing with how they're going to go with season 2 with that.
Anything is open. So speculation. Season 2, we know we're going to get some history on the Yoda species, which is great.
Yes.
That's what all the fans are wanting to know.
So it's going to be, I think, him visiting lots of different planets, similar to what season 1 was.
Get word
except this time, trying to research and get, this person's heard something, so I'm going to go to this
or hearing stories of weird stuff happening and following the like the Bigfoot chase or like those weird, unbelievable stories that everyone talks about. Like he's probably going to have to go on a chase of these crazy stories and finally find out what's true.
Definitely.
To lead him to where he needs to go, which is super exciting. We had the possibility of Rebels continuity coming up with the Darksaber being there.
Darksaber, definitely.
So it could be Ahsoka and Sabine get word that it's gone and they come back to fight. We could get Jedis in the Force just from the planet of Yoda.
Yeah.
Wherever that planet is or what the species is called, we can get that now introduced more and like, maybe a Jedi joins a crew. Or maybe he when he brings the child back, they realize the bond it has and says, no, you're going to keep him. Maybe they're going to help train him. Yeah. Like, wouldn't that be amazing if they had like a Jedi Mandalorian? Like never before seen.
Never.
All the gadgets plus a potential lightsaber and force powers. Like that would be the ultimate like Star Wars hero.
Yeah.
He doesn't need it. But I mean, they could do anything at this point.
Definitely.
The possibilities are endless. Yeah. It's so cool.
Now they probably wouldn't because the Mandalorians are all about, only being Mandalorians. Correct. Not Jedi. And then they.
But I mean, he did remove his mask to the droid. Things could change. He's a father now.
Yes.
As he goes out on this mission, he could change his stance on what it is to be a Mandalorian.
Yes. Definitely. And he may be one of the only ones left. We don't know. Probably not, but, they've left.
Well, we know the Armor Smith is definitely alive.
Definitely. Yeah.
There's the possibility of other ones escaping. And then there's still the end of the Gunslinger episode.
And Tatooine.
The person never showed up again. We know the person was on Tatooine. So our prediction of being at Boba Fett, I think, is very, very strong now. Yeah. For him to show up in season 2 or 3 as either opposition or take him under his wing. Yeah.
Or maybe he's heard stories about, the species and he kind of helps guide him.
He wants to take the medal back for himself. I mean, Boba Fett, for all intents and purposes, from the stories that we got from Clone Wars, from the movies, yes, he's a bounty hunter, but he definitely was more of a dark alignment that he took so much missions from the Empire, from Jabba the Hutt, did a lot of shady stuff.
Definitely.
Wasn't averse to killing people if it need be. Whereas the Mandalorian, while he had the ability to kill people, he always tried not to. He had that moral light side, that leaning towards the good. And so I think that contrast may play out in really cool ways if they do come.
Definitely.
Like, you don't deserve that, or whatever, tries to take the back. Who knows? Like, there could be this awesome. Or maybe he takes Yabi, and so he's got to chase Boba Fett, and there's this.
Right, they could team up because he wants to get the Blacksaber back, and they're both the enemies of that one person, so they could team up as Mandalorians and go after them. So they have so many. Yeah. So many.
Well, Boba Fett has no jetpack because it was destroyed in episode 6. So we know that at the very minimum, if he's crawled out and surrounded the Sarlacc pit like the expanded universe has always said it does, then he's right now in the desert with a few weapons, no jetpack. Yeah. So it'll be very interesting to kind of see what transpires. I'm so excited for the possibilities.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and it's not that many years far, like, because it was in episode 5 that he went into the pit. Yeah. So maybe 10, episode 6. 15 years.
Return of the Jedi.
Oh, yeah. So it's like 5 years after. Yeah.
This is 5 years later.
So it's only 5 years later. So it's definitely a realistic.
It doesn't mean he crawled out 5 years later. He could have crawled out the next day.
Yeah. And then just living on the outer rim.
Yeah. Like trying to survive, killing, stealing, doing, laying low, the Empire and everything that's going on. And,
yeah. The Outer Dunes. That's where they saw him.
Yeah. It's very interesting to kind of see the possibilities here.
Definitely.
Because his ship would definitely be on Tatooine. Because he was at Jabba's palace. Yeah. He got knocked in the pit, so his ship's there's somewhere there.
He still has a ship, he just doesn't have his jetpack.
Unless the Jawa scavenged it and he's off killing Jawas. Who knows? Who knows?
But after 5 years, it could be rebuilt and ready to go. And
the Slave 2.
That would be fantastic. They got to have him in there. With the Mandalorian show, you have to have the
especially since all the other ones are wiped out. So it's like, you might not see one, and then someone pops up and say, hey, buddy, blah, blah, blah. And then you get into a fight, and it's like, you don't know who I am. And so cool. We got a bit of Cara Dune's past, and she's trying to find herself where she belongs, kind of thing. Like, do I want to stay here? Do I want to be a mercenary? Do I want to be a bounty hunter? What do I want to do? Yeah. So it's great for her. Is she going to join his crew permanently? And they're going to be a crew.
Yeah. Is he going to call for help and she'll meet him somewhere, or what's going to happen? Yeah. Will they rebuild it? Well, IG's gone, so they won't rebuild IG, but there could be a different IG unit.
IG-88 shows up now.
Yeah.
And we get the real one in here.
That would be very cool as well.
Disney's like, you know what, you guys did such an amazing job. You are now allowed to use all the bounty hunters, the actual ones, not like the Bosk lookalike and the IG-88 lookalike. Use all the ones you want. Yeah. Go ham.
And that would be fantastic. So and they should.
The prisoners, we know they're going to make a comeback. They're in jail. They're going to break out revenge for an episode. Yeah, cause ruckus. Yeah, for sure.
Definitely trying to hunt them down.
We know that the brother and the main guy's dead because they blew up the hangar. We assume that they're dead. We don't think they escaped. Yeah. So, but the other 3 are in a prison cell, so they're going to come back.
Definitely. Man, so many options. Mm-hmm. Looking forward to season 2 for sure.
Absolutely. So With that being said, what they've done so far, it was a short season. It was 8 episodes. I thought it was going to be at least 10 or 12 episodes. It was 8.
It looks like all their series that they're going to do are 6 to 8 episodes.
Yeah, very, very limited, which is shocking. I mean, for a service you have, and it's not like they're coming out in a month or two. You still have months. Like, there's time for you to film another 2 episodes for you to fill out your roster. For whatever reason, they don't. I don't know if they're just not confident
testing everything for the it's like
sure.
This is a pilot seasons and then expanding it afterwards, which is kind of common for seasons as well. Start off with an 8, 12, depending on how long they are.
Or do you think it's about like they want to make sure that there's no filler, everything is top quality, so if it means they're shortened seasons but they're amazing versus longer seasons but they're okay?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe one of these was one or two was a filler that we could have gone without.
But it was still so entertaining to watch.
So it was, definitely. But yeah, it could be that reason as well. I'd be interested to see once they start doing the other series to see if they do the same kind of, if there are any fillers or if this
I'm hoping
is why
now that
doing
they got carte blanche. Like they knew they had something going before that, when they're writing this. Dave Filoni's great. And they're like, yeah, we know we got something. They're already filming season 2. Let's hope they get the green light and say, you know what? Let's film season 2 and 3 back to back. Let's extend season 2, or let's get going on this. Let's keep this a regular thing. And then, hey, Dave, while you're working on this, can you come over here and look at the Kenobi project?
Yeah.
Can you put your touch on that too? And you know what? We have the Rogue One prequel. Maybe just give a glance at those papers and make sure that's all copacetic.
I mean, he should be in charge of all the Star Wars stuff,
but it makes you wonder if he's got the Kevin Feige overseer. Is he really going to be that involved? And that's what the magic comes from, him being involved in the shows, being part of the director/producer, creating it, having a say. That makes a big difference, and that's what he's doing in these shows so far.
Huge. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see if they bring him in as a bigger role or let him touch a little bit of everything, get his input and specialty.
Will Trapper Wolf make his return?
That would be nice. Awesome.
Well, there you have it, everyone. That was our review of Chapter 8 or Episode 8, Redemption. Let us know what you think. Do you agree with us in our review of this amazing episode, or do you not agree? Let us know in the comments below of what you thought of the first season of Mandalorian. What are your predictions? What do you think is going to be set up for season 2 and beyond? Do you feel that they will have some callbacks to characters from Rebels and Clone Wars? Do you feel like they're going to go all new and not reference any of those? Let us know. You can subscribe to our channel to support us. You can shoot us an email at nerdstalkinfo@gmail.com. And as always, friends, stay nerdy.